All right, let's talk about these people. Who are? Do you know who these people are? Anybody know who they are? I'm going to tell you what their name is. I'm not really a sport guy, so I don't really pay attention to what's going on in anything outside of business. Okay, that's my sport. That's my favorite sport, business. All right, business, content creation, digital marketing, relationship talk from a power standpoint. Those are my sports. Yes, I do see them as sports, and my goal is to help people win in this arena. Those are my arena right there. The name of this guy, just his name is DAMIAN LILLARD. It's a basketballer. It's an NBA player. All right, and he was married. Well, still married. He just filed for divorce after just 2 years to LILLARD, and that's the lady you're looking at. And another one, and another one, and another one. Right? You know what they say, right? It's getting ridiculous by the day as we move into the future. Somebody said marriage is becoming obsolete. No. People are getting more divorced. Yes, to an extent, right? I'll tell you what's not becoming obsolete. People having sex and having children. That's not becoming obsolete, right? Exactly. I didn't think so. I'll wait. Is that becoming obsolete? No, it's not. So because of that, we have to be guided. We have to be guided. So let's talk about this really quickly. We don't know much about them. Okay, there's not much we know about them, but I'm just going to read the article right here on dailymail.co.uk. All right. Do you think Damian and Kayla are bad people, or you think either of them are bad people? Right? Or you think at least one of them is a bad person? If that's how you think about these issues, Yusef, you will collect at some point. All right? If you think, you have to be a bad person to end up in divorce court, if that's how you think about these issues, you have something else coming for you, okay? At the very minimum, let's even say you have the skills, right? But that also means that's what you are directly or indirectly teaching other people or sharing with other people. You know, all your solutions when people end up in a funk, when their marriage ends up in the poto, right? All your solution will be driven by the idea that it must be at least one of them that's just a bad person. Yeah. You're gonna see more and more of this. The only thing you can do about it is make sure you're not one of them. Okay? That's all you can do about this. You gotta make sure you're not one of them. Hey Patricia, welcome. Marriage is now becoming rare. Yeah, because people are scared. Guess what's not becoming rare? Sex. They're all having sex. Oh, you know another thing that's happening at rampant rage stages? Child support battles, custody battles. Oh yeah, many of those people that are not getting married, they ended up in child support and custody battles, right? And guess what? Because it's so easy to jump from one relationship to the other, guess what they're doing to many other people? They're traumatizing themselves. Let me say that properly. They're traumatizing themselves, okay? They're serving each other breakfast much more easier because there's nothing holding them down, right? Hey. I'm doing fantastic, Patricia. Thanks for asking. All right. So do me a favor. Hit that like button. Share. We're talking some serious topic right now. All right. That's why we're writing these books. That's why we're creating coaching programs. Okay. Because it doesn't matter that they're avoiding marriage. In fact, it's worse. Because again, it's like a very fiery, explosive passion. One of the major reasons for marriage is, hold on one second, let me close this thing just to make sure that, okay, yeah, let me close this. Here you go. All right, so, in fact, one of the major, anyway, let me get through the story, okay, because I lost my train of thought there. So, dailymail.co.uk It says Damian Lillard files for divorce from wife Kayla Lillard after 2 years of marriage due to irreconcilable differences just days after a huge NBA trade from Blazers to Bucks. Okay. Damian Lillard has reportedly filed for divorce just days after being traded to the Bucks in a blockbuster deal. Okay. Lillard, there was a lot of money exchanging hands there. Somebody's going to have to share money. All right. Either by way of child support or spousal support, right? And it's not necessarily that one person, you know, the way most lames think about that is that, well, she should get any share. It's not even about that. That's actually the least of the issues, okay? The main part about the issues, like if you have one pot, if you have $200 million inside of one pot, right? Two people, right? You will use less of it. You will invest more of it towards the future of your children. You will use less of it, right? You will also manage it better, right? Provided you're on the same page, of course, right? But if you separate, if there's a division between the two of you, that money can only go so far, right? So ultimately, it's hard to be resourceful when there's a division in your household, okay? So when you're together, when you're in unity, your resourcefulness is top notch, right? It's a life hack. Marriage is a life hack. No one is selling marriage here, by the way. I'm just telling you the fact is that it's a life hack, okay? So all the authorities, the agencies around the world, the ones that control this world, they reward it. It's just what it is. When we get into another era, when they stop rewarding it, I'll be the first to tell you, because the numbers will show them, right? But that's just where we are. So it's hard to manage. It's very, very hard to manage your resources when there's division in your household. Okay. Welcome, Chinye. How far? How you doing? No wala. All right. So very very important point to take note. It's not about people sharing or the woman is coming to take all your money or vice versa. In case you're married, you're a man, you end up marrying an Oprah. That's the least of your issue. You're right, but that's the least of your issue. The major part about your issue is that this problem you're running away from, or somebody's running away from you as a problem, it's not going to be solved by the divorce. It's just the first step. Hopefully you will continue the step after that, right? Actually, hopefully you know what the steps are, right? Let me continue. All right. So Lillard had agitated for a move this offseason after 11 years in Portland. Wow, he's a legend at this point. And was eventually sent to Milwaukee in a 3-team deal involving Drew Holiday, DeAndre Ayton, and Yusuf Nurkic. Now, it seems there will be another major life change for the point guard as he filed for divorce from his wife, Kayla Lillard, due to irreconcilable differences, according to Willamette Week. The couple, who met in college at Weber State University, wed in September 2021. Looks like they have 3 children. Let me see here. Lillard is, let me see. Yeah, they have 3 children. I'll just leave the children's pictures out of it. All right, the couple have 3 young children together. The filing obtained by the Willamette Week suggests that Kayla moved into a $2.7 million home in December 2022, with Lillard staying in the couple's $7.7 million mansion. All right, so they've been separated for almost a year. I don't know if you're aware, separation, I think the percentage, last time I checked, of people that make it out of separation that actually come back together, I think is 80%. So when you separate, there's at least about 15% chance that you never come back together. Okay, some people are very, very quick to suggest separation. Sometimes it is necessary, but some people are very quick to suggest it without even knowing what is going on, right? And One divorce is one too many. I don't care if it's 15%, I don't care if it's 30%, I don't care if it's 50%. It's one too many, because especially when there are children involved, right? It's one too many, because there's a good chance that these people that are divorcing, there's a good chance they will never engage the healing and coaching that they need. There's just a very good chance. Because why? Because what's the point? What's the incentive? I've escaped the problem, right? It just makes sense to continue life and just let it fall away. It may. Unfortunately, if there are children involved, it's much, much deeper than that. In a November 2021 Instagram post, when things were seemingly smoother between the pair, LILLARD, that's the lady, the wife, wrote a sweet message for his wife's. No, LILLARD is their last name. That would be DAMIAN. Okay, he wrote a sweet message for his wife's birthday. My life with you is so much better, and I quote, "My life with you is so much better than my life without you. Thank you for being the wife you are, the mother you are, the friend you are, and the super solid person you are," he wrote in an Instagram post. Now, there will be a lame idea here. I want to stop calling people lame. I'm going to try, okay? There's a lame idea here. Ideas can be lame. People don't have to be lame, okay? There's some lame idea here based off of the quote I just read that, they were probably pretending. And this is, again, if that's how you think, this is your outlook on these issues, if that's your perspective, it's no wonder that when it's time to come up with solutions or conflict resolution strategies, you will come up with something that's drawn from that dysfunctional, lame ideology, right? The reality is that he probably meant it in that moment. The skills that's required is, how do you dwell on this positive moment? How do you build on top of positive moments? Even in business, what we teach is to have people learn how to build on top of the existing success, right? Particularly with respect to the audience or who they are trying to serve, who they claim they would like to serve, right? So, but most people, they in this moment, they remember they also benefit indirectly from the aesthetic and the significance and the sense of contribution that comes to posting this on Instagram. But when they get hit with conflict, the conflict occupies a major part of their brain, right, than the positive moments, right? And negatives, because of the nature of negative, they have the power to occupy your reality, and before you know it, you have what we call resentments and loads of resentments, right? So when you end up in crisis, what do you tend to do? You tend to say, well, that's how you did that yesterday, right? Right? That's, you remember all the other times that you've had that feeling, that negative feeling that's coming from their action, right? Naturally so, you're not abnormal, right? But this is where you need to have the skills, okay? And majority of us, what do? We wait until things are extremely bad, and then we're now asking, and then it's just too bad already. Resentment is too large, too great, the damages are too much, right? Shout out to Mike Todd. He said damaged but not destroyed. Many people are just destroyed already, okay? If they're not yet destroyed, they will continue to destroy, because all those bad moments is really all they remember. But it doesn't have to be that way. I guess that's what Mike Todd is trying to say, and that's what I'm trying to say. But most people, they're going to continue in the same trajectory, right? Especially when it's hated by negative feelings and stuff like that. You just keep moving in that direction. So I think he meant it when he said it. I think he probably lacked the skill to build on top of that moment. I think if he ends up in a coaching session right now, a lot of the exercise we have to go through is that, it's a very difficult thing to do, because bad habits are extremely hard to change. We all have the bad habits of dwelling on just negative moments. Why? Because we want to protect ourselves, right? It's natural, especially if you're a man, right? You don't want to go through that again, right? Women can still be like, I'm hopeless romantic. I can do it again, right? So the quote continues, you truly make me a better man and make me stand up taller. I go harder, knowing that my work will continue to give you and my kids the world. You and me always, baby. I love you. Okay. Now, last Saturday, Lillard was welcomed by hordes of Bucks fans at a welcome rally in Milwaukee. Okay. He would team up with Giannis in Milwaukee, with the team expected to contend for another championship following its 2021 title win. The Bucks begin their preseason versus the Bulls on October 8th. All right, that's another family sadly broken up for absolutely no reason. Why do I say absolutely no reason? Irreconcilable differences is literally absolutely no reason on paper. Of course, there are reasons in real life, right? But yeah, Patricia says, why do you think sex and having babies out of wedlock trumps getting married? Is it laziness? Is it social media norms? Or is it fear of committing to a person for the rest of their lives? That's a good question. Hey D, welcome D. Good to see you. So the answer is, one is natural, one is part of our social construct. One is nurture, one is natural, right? One is nature, one is nurture, right? So yeah, I mean, marriage is man-made, just like religion, right? Marriage is man-made, right? But just because something is man-made doesn't mean it's not good for us. In fact, part of the human nature is to continue to be civilized. Okay, that's part of our nature. Okay, to continue to be civilized. Okay, so that's part of our nature, and some things are natural. You know, obviously the natural stuff you can try to kick against it, right? You can try to kick against it, but you know, nature is not your mate. The same reason why emotions no be anybody's mate, because it's part of our nature, right? All right, so marriage is part of a social construct. It's part of human creation to put structure in society, right? Of course, Christians will say it's God made. That's what Christians are supposed to say, right? But the fact that people have to actually do it, they have to get off their butt and go do it. You know, unlike they have to kind of get off their butt and eat too, but there's the survivor, you know. So I think people are pushing against, not directly, possibly indirectly, against marriage, because it's now becoming a form of survival, because a lot of people feel the need to protect themselves, right? And if they're trying to do that from a place of ignorance, of course they will do ignorant things, right? So I don't know. I might find myself in a position where I might still sell marriage as a, you know, but I don't think it's necessary to sell marriage. You know, it's a part of me that I'm a little rebellious. I don't like the idea of me selling marriage. It's like if you want marriage, don't do marriage. What the hell? I don't want people that don't want marriage in the conversation. It's pointless. You see what I mean? If you don't want marriage, you wouldn't be in the conversation. It's as simple as that. It shouldn't be. This is an attempt to complicate things by bringing anything that sounds like, well, some people are not for marriage. Like, I know that. Why did you bring that up? We're having marriage conversation here, right? So I want everybody just be aware that there's no need to sell marriage at all. The issue is that people will have sex, people will have kids, and we'll put structure in place to contain a lot of different types of energy that goes into life and death, right? Because we don't imagine a society where everybody's just moving mad, just have kids all over the place, right? Like animals. Just imagine that. If that looks good to you, sure, are we gonna have a new technology, like one guy put it, technology that will replace marriage? Maybe. I'm all for it, as long as we're not moving mad. That's one of the reasons why I don't like selling marriage, because I do believe that anything is possible. It might be a new technology, a new structure, system, that can, not just short term, because a lot of people talk out of short term. Just it feels good in the moment. Well, in the long term, 100 years from now, if a bunch of people start having kids all over the streets outside of wedlock, have we done the proper assessment of what that looks like 100 years from now? If we can come up with another technology, sure, system, sure, absolutely. I think we should knock ourselves out with that, right? But from my standpoint, I don't see it. I think the same way where you put LLCs together for a business so you can have structure so that nobody comes into your personal properties because there's somebody caught a lawsuit in front of your office. I think in the same way you need, especially when emotions are involved, the government is never going to they're never going to become too nosy into family issues, right? That's why there's family law and there's criminal law and many other things, right? The government protects society. Family law protects probably more like the children, which is indirectly women, right? If for the most part, right? But I'm talking from the standpoint of men now, right? So they will collect your fees. The lawyer will collect their money. They will help you split up, but they're not going to be there 20 years from now when that baby is graduating college. They're not going to be there 30 years from now. They don't care. They could care less. And rightfully so. So I do think, let me see this thing here. Marriage is a relationship. It's not just a relationship. It's a relationship that needs to be nurtured, right? And that requires time, requires effort, requires intentionality, requires skills, requires some tools, right? Sex, the tool you need for that is nature, it's biology. Right? The urges are natural, right? And you can't stop it, right? Even when you hate the person, a lot of times when inherently you're like, I'm not supposed to be with this person, but konji na bastard. Anyway, that's a loaded question. So to answer your question, I think marriage requires effort because it's highly rewarding if you get it right. And sex, not so much. That's why it's very destructive if it's done outside of structure. If it's done out of order, right? It's very destructive. It's just what it is. Right? Is it laziness? Is it social media norms? It is fear of committing. I think fear of committing is part of it. I think people are just afraid. They're trying to protect themselves, right? But when you do that from a place of ignorance, you're going to destroy yourself. Just like in any other area of life. Like, I'm just afraid. Let me just go this direction. Let me not look at the map. I'm afraid. It smells like the devil over there. Let me just... If you do that and you don't have knowledge, right? You can end up in the wrong, I can't tell you how many times I'm like, oh, I got lost, right? Not now, obviously, because there's obviously Google Maps and all types of resources for that now. But I'm talking about, back in the days, I will get lost and I'll be like, let me just take this shortcut. And then and then by the time I check, I've already faced the wrong direction for the most part. Or sometimes you end up in traffic, right? And you're like, let me take this shortcut. You get off the highway and it's not going to take you longer just because you're not patient. Patience. Anyway, welcome back. So that's a good one. Hit the like button. Okay, hit the like button. That's Damian and Kayla. Damian is done. They probably both done. He probably just filed the paperwork. But a lot of people are celebrating this, mostly indirectly. They might say things like, well, if it's not working, let's everybody go their separate way. That's not a solution. That's not a solution. That's not adequate. That's not good enough. Okay? That's only right. Like, you're not wrong for saying that.
Well, you're right.
But that's not the end of that story. There was no problem solved with that statement. Okay? Okay, maybe short term. It feels good to just say that in 2023. But there are bigger problems being created. Okay? And we need to start having that conversation. We're not just going to be able to get away. Okay? Welcome. If you just came in, hit that like button, share